Well, welcome to another episode of Legal Shit. It's another fine Saturday morning here in downtown West Palm Beach. I'm Tim Schulz. I'm here with the lovely and talented Antoinette.
Hi, guys.
And TK.
Hi, everybody.
And we have a special guest. Introduce yourself, Reggie.
I'm Reggie Rock. Good morning, everybody.
And Reggie is a private investigator.
Correct.
Right. And has worked with a number of law firms and a number of people in the legal community for 25 years or so, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and we may get into some other things. So you have anything to say, Antoinette?
No, I just want to take some time to share all these pages.
Well, we got to know Reggie a few weeks back, but we had some questions. We wanted to do a redo. So Reggie, we got to know you, and you shared a few stories with us. So we had a good time. We wanted to invite you back so we can get some more info out of you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me back.
Well, one of the problems last time, for some reason, we had some strange happening with the audio. I mean, we were literally cutting out and people couldn't hear us online. And so let's see. I'm just checking all the different things here. Okay. Anyway, so we wanted to redo this one.
Yeah.
Right. And there's some current events happening this past week that I think we want to ask you about as well.
Exactly.
See for your opinion.
So, Reg, tell us a little bit about what you do right now and kind of some of your background.
Tell us a little bit about your history. Yeah.
So
How did you get into this?
My history is I started this in 2004.
Gotcha.
Process server, private investigator. Prior to that, I was born and raised in New York. And
Go Yankees.
yes, go Yankees. They're 1-0.
They are 1-0.
Or Mets, depending on where you live.
That's right.
Or Mets. The law firm I worked at in New York, they made me get my process server's license, which is how I got into this, and I had an interest in it.
Right.
And from there, I just came down here. Then I worked at Greenberg Traurig, which is
My former law firm.
that's where I met Tim.
Yeah.
And eventually I left there and
Started your own.
started my own my
When
firm.
did you leave Greenberg? I forget. That was.
I left in I officially left in 2007.
Gotcha. Okay, that's when I left Greenberg. For the people that don't know, process serving is the process by where a licensed process server serves a copy of a complaint and summons and a civil cover sheet, and now there's some other documents you have to serve, but you have to serve that personally on the person being served, so they have actual notice that there's been a lawsuit filed. Sometimes people think that's just so ridiculous. I mean, they already, if you serve it to them wrong, they don't have to answer, right? Anyway, it's just the way the law is, right?
It is,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it's designed to make sure that when people are served with a lawsuit, they can't say, "Oh, I never got that. I didn't get that. You can't sue me." So anyway, tell us a little bit about process serving, or maybe tell us about the people that don't want to be served in the process.
People that don't want to be served, they go to great lengths to avoid service.
Right.
There were divorce papers. I had a guy at a service sitting outside his house, and he left his house and left the garage in his car and drove across the neighbor's lawn
Oh, wow.
to avoid service. So people will go to great lengths.
Has anyone ever jumped out of a window and run away, or?
That has not happened. not with me anyway. But I'm sure that has happened.
That brings back fond memories of that movie, Pineapple Express, where he tried to chase everybody and think of creative ways to disguise himself so that he can serve people paperwork.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's a misconception.
Is it?
As
Okay.
a process server,
Right.
Pineapple Express is a hilarious movie, but
I didn't see it.
it's
but-
not true.
No.
You can't legally. You cannot
Dress up.
Wear a costume?
You cannot misrepresent yourself. You can't say you're a pizza delivery guy and have papers in a pizza box.
That's what I would use.
I mean, that would be the
Post
smartest
office
thing.
worker, right?
Yeah.
Mailman.
Well, could you bring a pizza box and just say it's a present for you for accepting service?
You may be. It depends on
You came with extra anchovies on this pizza.
Right, exactly. Here's a little gift for accepting service of process. Great.
But no, you cannot say I'm a pizza guy or FedEx or anything like that.
And don't you have to wear some sort of a license or something so they can see that you're a process server?
You have an ID, but you don't have to wear it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So,
Well, that's good too, because they just think you're an ordinary salesman of some kind.
Correct.
All right. Okay.
so what are the most common cases of for private investigators that you handle?
Bank searches,
Mhm.
asset searches, surveillance, of course, marital,
Mm.
or personal injury,
Gotcha.
which are I handle both sides. If you're the plaintiff and you've been injured, then I go to accident scenes,
Right.
Okay.
Take
take
pictures,
pictures.
Yeah.
videos.
Let's back up to the surveillance, marital surveillance. That one's interesting.
I figured we'd get to that eventually.
Oh, okay, all right. 'Cause I'd like to do a whole
skipping over
segment
it.
on that. I'd like to know where you cut it off.
Okay.
Where you know,
What
at
is
what
the
point
most
do you cut it off?
Wait, so what's the number one though that you do that like
Lately,
in your business?
in
in
my
your,
business,
yeah, for
it's
you
been-
personally.
lately it's been bank
Assets.
searches and asset
Oh.
searches.
Huh.
Oh, so everyone's hiding their money.
Because people
Well.
they have judgments against them, and they're not
Ah.
paying the judgment. So the client hires me to find their bank accounts and do writs of garnishments, which Tim can better explain.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, you remember your client that hit his well, I'm gonna put it in the wife's name and now he has nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
well,
tried to hide it and lie.
Exactly.
Well, one of the I had an old client. And I guess karma's a bitch. So-
Yes, because he tried to stiff Tim too.
No, he did stiff me for quite a bit of
I
money
didn't wanna
that he
say-
owed
yeah,
me.
a
No,
lot.
he did. I'm not going to mention his name.
Yeah, it
so.
messed up my pocket. I could have went and got another dress,
Well,
something
people
else.
have overseas accounts too, foreign accounts
Yeah.
that you have to track down too,
Yeah.
and that's almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
Except for the 2008 financial crisis, where they tried to bring.
But this
Ah.
individual stiffed me. But the funny thing is that I was representing him in a number of cases where creditors were coming after him, right? Doing asset searches, depositions to find out where all his assets were, and he had many depositions under oath, many affidavits under oath that he had nothing. I don't have anything. I'm broke.
Mm.
And they said, well, what about these two companies? Those are my wife's companies, even
Mhm.
though his wife had no idea what they did, pretty much.
She didn't
but-
even speak proper English.
No, but she was the head of the companies, and he
Yeah.
just worked there for free, helping her out.
Hmm.
And so he didn't collect a paycheck. So everything he said was in her name, everything she owned, the cars, everything, until she found him cheating
Yes.
on her one day. And
Cheat if you want to.
yeah, and then what ended up happening was, of course, he came into court and was arguing. Wait a minute, these assets need to be split up because they have mine. And she
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I don't think so, because here's all your affidavit saying,
And the private
owe nothing."
investigator that did his case had found everything.
yeah, everything."
Yeah.
So he didn't get much, from what I understand. He's no longer. I think they're now divorced, and I don't know
He
if he got
should
it.
be. No, I hear she's living a good life
Yeah,
now.
I think
Yeah.
she got the whole house and everything.
Yeah.
It was a big mess, but
That's what you get for lying
that's what you get for lying. So
and cheating.
yeah. So how do you find information? I was always wondering about this. How do you find information on people's bank accounts and stuff? Isn't that private or?
As a private, I have access to.
Okay.
Yes. It's like I'm going to
I'm not gonna
divulge
tell
all
you.
my
I mean,
secrets.
exactly.
The secret ingredient.
That you need to be a private investigator to be able to access those things.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
So, what are some legal restrictions that private investigators have to follow?
The biggest one, and we're going back to marital.
I'm just thinking, what's the moral issue here? At what point do you stop? I mean, there's an act being taking place,
Mhm.
right? And where do you stop? Where you say, I've already got enough.
Okay, so there are two things. So as a marital, first thing you tell the client is who's hiring you is Florida's a no-fault state.
Right.
Yeah.
Does not, so that just means there's no punishment for
Cheating.
cheating. You can get divorced, that's fine, but you're not going to be penalized for it.
Right.
Wait. Penalized meaning that, okay,
Financially.
so financially, if you cheat, you don't have to pay your spouse anything because you cheated.
Yes,
Oh.
but there's the caveat, and Tim can better elaborate on this. The caveat is,
Mhm.
let's say, I'm going to use myself as an example.
Thank you.
I get caught cheating,
Mhm.
but I've been using marital funds
Right.
With
for
your partner.
with the girlfriend,
Yeah.
whatever you want to
Exactly.
call her. Yes, there's a penalty for that.
Right.
Oh.
You may have to. It's usually a 50-50 distribution state, except
Exactly.
if they can prove that you've spent $50,000 on the girlfriend buying a Rolex and this and that. You might not get your half. You might get your half less $50,000, which goes to the wife to repay
Okay, so
marital assets.
so it's like this. So so it's like going to the strip club.
Oh, no, so
And you give a
close.
stripper
Okay.
$20. That means you got to give your wife $20.
No,
No.
that's just a hobby.
Whose money did I use though?
Yeah, exactly.
Did I use my own
But
paycheck?
once you're married, it's
No.
it's
That weekend.
joint money, isn't it?
That weekend you did. You got paid on Friday. You did it at the strip club on Saturday.
No, when you get married,
Uh-huh.
anything you had beforehand,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people get divorced and married later on in life.
Yeah.
If you come into the marriage with $1 million worth of assets, let's say, you can designate those as non-marital assets, and you keep them segregated, and they're yours. They're not your wives when you get to.
So
when
you have
get
to
divorced.
show proof that is coming out of The old money.
Well, what you do is you just what you do is you open up a new bank account with the new wife, and everything that goes into that is a joint marital asset.
Wow.
Now, if Florida's a
I'm learning, guys.
state,
I'm learning.
Isn't a prenup also an exception? Can't you state it in a prenup that if there is cheating, then these are the consequences?
You can, yeah. Prenups are enforced unless they're like handed to the wife 5 minutes before the wedding ceremony starts.
Oh, seriously? You can't hand it straight before?
It could be under duress. I mean, that's a little pressure to. Sign this
5 minutes before.
Yeah. Especially your entire family's there.
Since the groom can't see the bride, some agent will come up and say, "This is on behalf of the groom for you to sign." And
I see those on movies.
It's right, but it's that's certainly a little bit of duress there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So if you get married and years pass, and now you're getting divorced, and someone gave you a contract before you're married, on the day of your wedding, you can say, "This is why I did it," even after years.
I was under duress.
Oh, wow.
I was at the eve of my wedding, ready to walk down the aisle.
Just make sure the photographer takes the pictures.
The photographer, make sure that's in the picture. I ever make is under duress from this point on, under pressure.
Yeah. No, we've got a case going on right now where an attorney who will remain unnamed
thank you
was in court facing a contempt fee hearing against he and his law firm, and a lot of money to be awarded. And ended up entering into an on-the-record settlement agreement with us. We went through all the terms. He agreed, and the next day said, "No, there was no settlement. I was under duress."
Oh, I remember that.
There was too many sheriff's deputies in the courtroom, and everyone was picking on me. And so now he's trying to blow up the settlement agreement. So we have a hearing coming up. But anyway, so yes, under duress. That's prenups.
There you go. And then to answer your question about morality,
right? How far do you go? I mean, you got it on tape, right?
Okay,
do you have to go farther?
I've had two situations where I turned one down actually. It was I guess it was marital, but it was boyfriend girlfriend. It was marital. They was divorced, separated, shared custody, and the dad wanted me to follow his ex going to a bar downtown. Matter of fact, I won't mention the bar.
Yeah,
and watch her drink.
Watch her drink.
Correct.
From far away, like in a corner somewhere.
Yeah. And legally, as a private investigator, I'm not supposed to make contact with my subject.
Oh, you can't even like hit on her. No, you're not allowed to.
Well, I'm not that I can't, but it's deemed as entrapment.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
And then he wanted me to watch her leave after she's had 6-7 drinks.
Yeah.
And then he wanted me to call the police and say she's driving drunk. And I refused.
That's a setup.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't set her up. I didn't buy her the drinks.
No. But that's like, I want to catch you in the act.
Morally, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, it is definitely immoral. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, so I declined that assignment. And then now legally, I had somebody who wanted me to catch their ex at home.
Where someone was
doing
sneaking
drugs.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So, which is not a problem.
Yeah.
If you're on your front porch,
you move a little closer.
I'm sorry. If you're on your front porch, you can.
I
can videotape. But if you're in your living room with the blinds open and you're smoking crack, you have an expectation of privacy. I cannot videotape inside your residence.
So what about those drones that just be swooping in and?
That's the backyard. That's fine.
So you have a drone. You have a spy drone.
I do not.
Oh, you do not. Okay.
But I do know people who have them, and I can employ them.
Oh wow, there's companies you can just employ to have a drone fly around.
Wow. A lot of people don't realize to use a drone, you have to have a pilot's license.
Yes.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, all those drones
you can
that
get
are
on
around
Amazon
here.
and just use it, but
I know they can't enter the flight space.
Exactly.
Of an airport.
They will knock it down too, like surges or whatever. I'm not sure what does it, but it knocks it out the sky.
Really?
Yes. If you do not have a license, because I remember when for legal shit. Media diagnostics. When I did your video
for
I had a drone guy. He did not have a
license.
Proper he didn't have the proper certificate
and I guess
or whatever.
You can't have any drones flying around Mar-a-Lago.
No.
I would imagine.
Unless they have a proof.
Unless they have been approved.
Yeah, they've been approved. Yeah, because I saw drone videos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what else? What other kind of type things you get yourself involved with?
Legal restriction.
Mainly, most rest of it is kind of boring. Like the bank searches, the asset searches.
Gotcha.
So how do you gather evidence while staying within the law?
As I said, I have access to records.
Oh, yeah.
Most people do
That
not.
we're not allowed to share.
Yes.
So. Okay, so what are some of the red flags, which you just told us about that you don't like, and indicate fraud or deception in an investigation?
Clients are not always very forthcoming,
Oh,
as Tim may know.
Oh, yes, yes.
And you have to keep asking questions, and the more questions you ask, the more it comes out.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people just don't give you, they're not forthcoming with the full amount of information. And this is why when I, as an attorney, and I guess in anything you do, you really got to dig down a little bit because the first time, whatever people tell you isn't quite the full story and isn't always quite truthful. I had a woman yesterday who was speaking to me and she was telling me all this stuff and, they're challenging this deed and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. And, but anyway, there's issues with that. When you start looking things up there, it's what the client perceives to be true isn't quite, not that it's not true, but it's not as forceful or as strong as they would think in terms of legal
Correct.
Issues. So.
And I hope to have this client on. She's one of my friends. I hope to have it on soon. She has a great case, which is ridiculous. It's out of this world, soap opera kind of thing.
Anyway, but yeah, so what happens is clients come in and they tell you their story, and then once you dig in a little bit and really kind of cross-examine them, they start coming back and you start pulling back some of the layers and find out, well, it's not all quite what you said originally. So
yes, and I'm sure you do the same thing. I try to tell my clients at the very beginning, you're hiring me. You came to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell
me everything. I'm not going to judge you.
Right. Tell me the good, bad, and the ugly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I can do my job better.
Correct.
So I don't have to figure it out later on.
Because it's harder when you have to figure it out. If they just tell the truth, then you can focus on something else.
Exactly.
And to distract you with something. So can private investigators, access records that are generally public or cannot? That general public cannot? I'm reading so fast.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
So if there's just like you can access certain things, public records.
Oh, public records, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone go on public records,
well,
right?
not what she's talking about besides public records.
Oh, okay.
Like stuff that you can do that we can't do, like the public cannot.
I can't do much.
Whatever.
I'm just an attorney.
No, I mean, I guess the bank knows in advance that he's coming, right? Because these are court ordered, or is it because
they don't know.
They don't know.
No. And matter of fact, they don't even know that I searched the records.
Oh, they don't know that you searched the records.
Once I get the results, and then if, for example, if Tim hired me to do a bank search, and then once I give Tim the results, and then he wants to do a writ of garnishment, that's when they find out.
Right.
Oh.
Interesting.
I might have
so how do you ensure
that involves a credit pull of some kind? Yeah.
So how do you ensure this evidence you collect holds up in court?
It's I can get it certified.
Right. From the bank.
And once the writ of garnishment.
What do you mean certified? So you just go in there and like this like.
Well, I obtained the account number, the balance that day in the bank account.
Yeah.
So when the writ of garnishment gets served on the bank, it's legit.
Gotcha. We have another little guest here that's down at our feet making noise.
Wants attention. She wants all the attention.
We don't have a set of headphones, unfortunately, for her, but
she needs hearing aids. Forget that.
This is maybe
we can hear her, but she cannot hear us. Oh,
the official tack dog of legal shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what's the biggest misconception people have about private investigators?
It's the same as it is with attorneys.
You guys don't do anything.
They want you to produce results
for free.
And
sometimes for free.
If, for example, if someone hires me because they think their spouse is cheating and they're not, they're not happy. Like I can't create something.
You can't make him cheat. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right. You can't.
I followed him for a week. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He was at Publix when he told you he was at Publix.
Right.
No, he's lying. You're lying for him.
Do you, as a private investigator, have access to people's phone records, or that has to be through a subpoena?
That's through a subpoena.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Okay.
Have you ever followed somebody that was doing insurance fraud?
Yes, I have.
Like they pretended to be injured,
and they were not.
And they were not injured.
Yes.
How did that go when they found out? Or did they ever see you doing it?
They never saw me. Again, I'm not gonna mention any names, but I followed he was a minor league baseball player. And this is back in the early start of my career. And we followed him for a week. And he had an accident, and he claimed he ruined his career. He can't work, can't pitch.
Was he in a car accident? What kind of accident?
It was a
did he
car
have?
accident.
Oh, car accident. Okay.
And then the last day we're following him, he went to Wendy's.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, he went to a baseball field.
Oh, he played baseball. Oh,
No, he didn't play. He didn't play baseball.
He didn't play.
But he's in the field. The field's empty. It's a public field, and he
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
he carried but I don't know what you call it, but it's where you stand behind the net. When you're
Right.
pitching.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right.
He carried it on his shoulder.
Ah, gotcha.
He set it up,
Oh, the whole thing.
and
Oh.
then eventually, another car came, and I guess it was their daughter
Right.
came, and he was pitching to her for an hour, and she was hitting the ball.
Great. Excellent. Well, have you heard? I don't know if anyone's heard. I can't remember the guy's name. There's a guy. He is a prolific lawsuit filer, and he files Americans with Disabilities Act claims against various hotels and restaurants and public accommodations. And if you're not familiar with this, if you own a restaurant, you have a hotel, you have a public accommodation where the public can come in, you're under the rules and regulations of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so what some people have become are, I forget what they call them, but they will literally go into your restaurant with a little camera and a measuring tape and make measurements.
That used to scare me.
And take pictures, and then you get a violations letter, and the attorneys want either you to correct this situation want you to correct this situation and pay them for their attorney's fees and pay their guy a certain amount of money, and the lawsuit will go away.
Isn't that for new buildings?
No, that's for everything.
No, but if it's an old property, how can they update it? Just like here,
you're
have
supposed to.
Once you update your place, if you update your place.
You're supposed to, except there are certain exceptions, but we're not talking about the ADA today, but
yeah.
But the whole point of the story is this guy has filed something like 200 or 300 lawsuits, and he works for the same law firm. It's the same complaint, and this guy claims he's disabled, and so this is why he's able to act as an ADA, whatever they're called, because he himself is disabled. Yet the news, I think Channel 5 News had him on the news. Doing all kinds of stuff at his building and washing windows and lifting heavy stuff. So the guy's not disabled. And they followed him around for a number of times, but he gets away with it.
Yeah, he was representing them as well.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
on top of everything.
He literally files a suit on behalf of, and I don't
it's
remember.
Convenient to say you're disabled too.
Yeah, he's got to be disabled because if he's disabled, he doesn't have the same access as a disabled person.
Like a handicap ramp.
Correct.
Let's say. Yeah.
So, but meanwhile, he's running around town and in his nice new SUV, and he files. I think there's like 300 something lawsuits that he's filed.
It's like the homeless man that begs for change, and then he goes around the corner, gets into his Mercedes, and drives away.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's just amazing. And they had it on the news, but he keeps filing. One of my clients was the victim or the whatever of his. But
oh, you did?
Yes, just not too long ago. Yep. I won't mention the name of the hotel and restaurant, but in any event, everything was corrected and we resolved it. But it's just wild. These guys are filmed doing what they say they can't do, and yet they're.
So another question: How does surveillance law vary from state to state?
I don't know about every state, so it depends on
Florida.
I know Florida.
Are you licensed only in Florida?
I'm licensed only in Florida, but I
work with other.
I do contract.
Okay, got you.
Other investigators if I have a case out of state.
Gotcha.
The one thing I can tell you is probably in all 50 states is that you're not allowed to record somebody's voice without their knowledge and consent.
Right.
Oh wow! Even with all these equipments right now that just takes your voice.
You're not supposed.
Doesn't even
you're not
matter.
allowed to.
Yeah. So what tools or technology do private investigators use today that weren't available years ago?
Cameras, of course.
Yeah.
When I say cameras, I mean I have not to divulge too much, but I have a button cam.
Oh yeah.
So
do you have one of those glasses
I
and you're
do.
recording?
Yes.
That is cool. Yeah, I saw a photographer using that one time. They couldn't figure it out. They were struggling with it.
Wow.
But I thought that was cool. And they were trying to record stuff and they're like, forget this.
I can just picture you going on Amazon looking up the most up-to-date stuff that's out there. Wow, this is cool. This got a
James
laser
Bond.
sighting on this one.
It's like James Bond.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I use a dash cam,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is awesome because when I'm doing surveillance in the past, I would
Have to hold something.
my phone up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I have a dash cam and it records everything.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
So it's less obvious.
So in public, there's no expectation of any privacy, right? So
Correct.
people can just walk around.
And like I said, if you're
video.
sitting on your front porch, there's
Right.
no expectation of privacy. Only inside your house.
You know,
Inside
in
your house, you
France,
can't record the voice.
you have to ask if someone comes up to you and say, erase my video, you have to erase it. You're not allowed to record people without their permission, or well, you can record, but only people you're allowed to record is the police officers. And everybody else, if they come up and say, erase my video, I don't want to be in it, you have to erase it.
Well, I think with the police officers, if they say they're in the act of doing their job and you're interfering in that, then you must stop. You must stop. Otherwise, it's in public and they don't say anything. But if they're in the act of doing their job and you're somehow interfering and they tell you that, then you could be in big trouble. Just from what I understand.
I think you're right.
I think they have a law now that you have to be a certain feet away now.
Probably they can say
they changed it.
I don't know.
I mean, that's just common sense. Right? You want to be in the middle of a robbery?
That's what
you want to be on the outskirts
to get
of
the
that
best
robbery.
stream. I don't know.
I don't know.
I want to get up close, and just like the people in the war.
I'll say stand back and say nothing. That's all. Don't argue with the meter maid. The meter maid always freaking wins. You can't beat the meter maid, like the parking guys out here. Sometimes I like to say something.
Parking Nazis.
I call them the parking Nazis, but they are brutal.
$38. I think it starts at 38, and then if you get the second violation, it goes up to 40 something, and then all the way to 100.
Sometimes that one time the guy was telling us to move, and I'm going to give you a ticket, and I feel like saying you don't have any authority to give tickets out. You get parking tickets out, but I'm sitting on the street. Get out of here. But then, of course, he'll call the police. Then I'll get in trouble for it.
I saw 3 orange violations on the same car in a matter of 4 hours, 5 hours.
It adds up. It will add up too. Yeah. And it changes price. It doesn't say $38 every time they get a ticket. It changes. It doubles. I know one lady, one of my clients, she ended up where she got a ticket for $100 and something. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That happened to me too.
Yeah. But anyway, just watch those parking guys.
Crazy.
Make sure you feed the meter.
Still cheaper than the price of the boat show parking. Maybe better if you get a violation instead of paying for boat show.
Yeah, we just finished, by the way, for those of you who don't know, we just finished the boat show here in West Palm Beach. And it is always quite an event for the weekend. This year was 5 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I missed the party. I remember last year I went with you and a couple friends.
It takes like 2 weeks just to dismantle it.
Yeah. They're dismantling it now, but all the streets are clogged, and Reggie knows all about that.
I know about that. Thankfully, it's no Sunfest this year. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I always liked it. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that.
No, I do like it, but
I like
it's
Sunfest
an inconvenience for me.
Yep.
I like Sunfest.
Driving wise.
So what else do you do? Because I know you know notary work and legal documents. So let's step into that.
Notary. I'm a mobile notary. So I've gone to Vero Beach to notarize documents.
Yeah.
Can you do electronic?
I do electronic
because I sometimes need a notary, and I'm telling you, it's like
needle
where do I
in a
find a
haystack.
notary?
That's me.
It's a dying
But also
thing.
the banks won't notarize a document if they think it's going to end up in litigation.
Oh.
I brought some stuff to them. They're like, no, this affidavit, no, it's might be in litigation, so we can't do it.
Oh wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, very strange.
Did you ever have to be a notary for people getting married online? Like through
No,
Zoom?
I have not.
Yeah, I heard that's a thing.
Really?
I heard that people can get married through Zoom.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
They don't even have to be next to each other.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yep.
How do you kiss the bride?
No, the bride and groom are there.
Wedding,
it's just it's the pastor and everyone else is not there.
I don't know
a
if they have to be together, but
But if a judge and a lawyer can be somewhere else, why can't
I guess
person that presides over the wedding?
Well, I guess I have no idea. Oh well, let's get married by wedding.
So what? Name some of the roles of a notary in making sure documents are legally binding.
Well, obviously, if I do it face to face, or even online, you get the driver's license. Obviously, you make sure they're not mentally incapacitated,
right?
And
not under the influence of something.
Under the influence,
right?
Not under duress,
right?
Of course.
They don't have a gun. You don't have a gun to their head. No one has a gun to their head while they're signing. Yeah.
And you need witnesses too. More witnesses.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I've always wondered that because I get, I'm involved in litigation and we have documents that are notarized with witnesses. The witness just has a name, and half the time people are like, I don't know who those people were. I have no idea. I don't know how to find them. So it's very odd. But anyway,
that's pretty true.
Leave that alone. Let's not change. So no one changes the rules.
Anyway.
Like this is why it's a lie or whatever.
I don't know.
So what are common mistakes do people make? What common mistakes do people make that when getting document notarized?
there's only one, where they tell you, I'm going to sign it, or she already signed it. Here it is.
Oh.
Right. So they're not present.
Oh.
The document, and
that's a common mistake.
Yeah.
That's
you
big.
never do that.
No.
I could lose my notary license, number one, and I think it's a misdemeanor.
I think it's a misdemeanor, right?
Yes, absolutely.
By notarizing something that's already been signed, not in your presence.
Exactly. But people think it's okay.
Oh, wow. So what's the risk of using a fake or improperly notarized document? Oh, you just said it.
Yes.
How can someone verify a notary is legitimate?
My testimony.
Well, plus, you mean a notary stamp, or that a person holds
Yeah.
a notary license?
Both.
Oh, you can check with the state of Florida.
It makes an imprint in the actual paper.
And I always take a picture of, and I retain it for my records of the person's driver's license, whatever ID.
Yeah.
If it's
Right.
passport, driver's, I can retain that.
And you can go online.
Can someone steal your stamp?
No, you can go
Well, it's
online and
secure.
check someone's license.
Yeah. Oh. I was watching this video where this lady took a screenshot of a stamp, and then she copied it and then photoshopped it and put it on another document.
We've had some instances over the years. I think my colleague has one now where it looks like the document's been altered some way, with the notary stamp and the witnesses and things are off-centered. They have two different copies of the same document, and the signature blocks aren't quite the same. So it's a little strange.
Oh, wow.
A little different. Anyway. All right. Well, that sounds pretty good.
Can a notary refuse to notarize a document? If so, under what circumstance?
We can absolutely refuse, and of course, because we
Under
think
duress.
one of those things I just told you. Yes, duress.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think someone's falsifying something,
exactly.
fake ID.
Yes.
Or someone has a gun to your head.
Well, that's signing under duress. I don't really want to notarize that, but they put a gun to my head.
I think the best example I have is there's a will change,
Mm-hmm. Oh.
and the person was elderly,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the son was there, and he was
Kind of doing everything.
directing her.
Yep.
Oh.
And
Happens a lot.
I did not feel comfortable, so
Happens a lot.
So did you back out?
I did.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
No, it happens a lot. I have a case now involving that. But anyway, where people kind of get their parents and they have them sign things and sign things over.
Isn't there something called a guardianship where you can go after, even if they're incapacitated, because of the fact that you're the next of kin, you can take on all their
But what
affairs
about if you
because
have a
the
lot of
guardianship.
kins? Like
Well,
siblings, that's another thing. That's
gets
where it
into
gets
big
more
fights.
complicated.
But you
yeah.
can petition to have a guardian appointed to your elderly mother, father,
If they're still
or
alive.
disabled brother or sister
Right.
or something like that, and to take over their affairs because some other people in the family take advantage. Here's what happens a lot is, mom or dad are down here in Florida,
Mhm.
and one of the sons or daughters are living here in Florida, sometimes even in the same house, and the rest of the kids are living elsewhere around the country. And next thing you know, mom and her dad are changing the will and changing bank accounts, and all the kids are left out of everything. And
Yeah,
and then they
somebody's
have to
been in
come
their ear, right?
Yeah.
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 sign this, dad, sign this right here. Just
And you just trust them because you just want to get it over with. You don't want to deal with the paperwork once you
Yeah.
get older.
I think this happens more often than not.
especially
I think it
Florida.
does,
Yeah.
especially
When
down here.
one sibling finds an opportunity
Yeah.
to get close to the parents.
Especially if they
For
start
their
having
entire
dementia.
lives, they were estranged, but they suddenly become their best friend for
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
I know it's
That's
anyway.
sad. What's the process of handling notarized in a legal dispute? Notarization in a legal dispute. That's not the question. Is not for you, buddy.
Well, I think that is more of a Tim question. Actually.
Oh, it is. Okay, the question is for you, buddy.
I just testify. Yeah, I notarized this. Yes, this
No,
is the person.
it's as long as the person, the notary. I mean, if you have to get in the document authenticated, the notary can come and testify. That's my signature. That's my stamp.
Mhm.
He presents his license. We can enter that into evidence, and
That's it.
it's considered. Yeah, it's notarized. It's good to go. And, unless someone wants to say again they notarized it under duress or something like
Correct.
that.
So, have you ever uncovered fraud?
I have not. Not notarization. Thank
Darn
God.
it. That would have been a juicy topic. What are the most important document people should always have properly notarized?
Wills.
Yeah.
They have to be by law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Power of attorney,
Power of attorney.
Mhm.
Real estate transactions.
Yeah,
right? Mortgages, things like that.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes.
yeah. Those are important.
Cars? I don't know.
No,
No,
No.
not really.
That's still property.
that's more of a contract. With the dealership and stuff. Certain things should be noted. Well, it's good to get notarization on any document that's important. That's going to be transferring property or transferring assets, things like that. So,
What about if it's your child or not your child?
well,
Well, I mean, the way that you're holding Mimi, Mimi's been quiet because you've been.
She's been cuddled.
Yeah,
man, I'll tell you.
She needs to pay for this.
So
I'm doing a cuddling service.
So I wanted to
Cuddling
talk.
service for
While
dogs.
we have you here, Reggie,
Yeah,
I think Tim wants. We want to pick your brain.
I wanted to segue. I wanted to get your. Have you been listening to this? The group chat scandal.
Yes, I have.
Involving Pete Hegseth, our was it defense secretary?
Yes, I have.
So it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that because as you know, and for those of you who are following it, you probably have heard this is the controversy or the scandal now. I think they're going to start calling it Appgate, from what I understand.
Oh, really? Appgate.
Appgate. And this is the now newest Washington scandal where I think it was like 16 or 18 individuals were on a group chat using Signal, I think it's called. I didn't even know Signal exists.
Neither did I.
No,
until
I
last
heard
week.
it. I didn't know. But anyway, they were sharing secrets. Apparently, President Trump had authorized a strike on the Houthi rebels in Yemen, a country far, far away in the southwest corner of the Arabian Peninsula. It's just below Saudi Arabia and Oman to the east. And in any event, President Trump had authorized a strike, and this group text chain on Signal was talking about, among other things,
The pre-strike. Right.
military instructions
And more.
And there were what makes it so most scandalous right now is that of the 17 or 18 people that were on the text string was one reporter for The Atlantic. What's his name? I have it written down here somewhere. I wonder.
Jeffrey Goldberg.
Jeffrey Goldberg, that's right. From The Atlantic magazine. And Jeff Goldberg was invited on to the stream.
Yes.
And so he's reported, and to his credit, he said he thought it was a joke or someone trying to get information out of him. And then when he realized, I think this is real, he got off the chat. But in the meantime, he had all the texts on his phone.
But he never released it, right?
No, he didn't release it.
When did this come out? When did this all happen?
That all happened last weekend. I think it was over the weekend, and then it came out on like a Monday or something.
And he did say that he was not going to release it until the White House
said nothing was confidential or classified.
They denied it, and then he said, "Okay,"
which they did.
Yeah,
and they did say, "Well, it's not really classified.
Right.
Planning a strike is not classified."
He was not going to release the text messages.
Yeah.
Until the White House was saying, "Well, there was nothing classified on that."
They disparaged them.
And then he said, "Well, they really disparaged him."
Yes.
And he said, "Okay, well, if they're not
going to release it, let's give them some proof.
If it's not classified, let the public." Well, who was on the call? Let's see. It was.
Does the public really care though?
I think they do. It's a pretty.
Well, it's a platform that a lot of people used, like WhatsApp in the past, right? It's encrypted messages, which you can delete. But I just didn't know the government regularly uses a platform like this. Yeah. I thought they had some kind of situation room, some kind of secured line where they're video conferencing each other.
Isn't that what they call the secret room? The SCIFs. I forget what it stands for, but
I always get that image of when Obama was there with Hillary, watching the Osama attack, right? Yeah.
So that's the scandal, was the fact that there was a non-governmental member on the chat who then had access to all those materials. And the other problem is that a lot of people are saying that foreign entities, foreign governments can certainly get into this and have, could have thwarted it, could have used it to attack us, things like that before we started the attack. Thankfully, it never happened, and that's one of the speaking points of the Trump administration, was that at the end of the day, nothing happened. It's all nothing burger.
Yeah,
and
but something
we had a
could have
successful strike.
happened.
Well, that's the other side of it.
I would think that the United States have their own line of how to and protect themselves.
Was my next question. Forgive my ignorance, but you mentioned Obama. But,
that's what
did they use? They don't have their own
separate private,
like they have video conferencing,
not WhatsApp or.
No, I don't think so. They never had WhatsApp then.
No,
I don't think they even had it.
Supposedly, the Signal, this app, it's a commercial app. The Biden administration used it, but mainly used it for organizing group meetings, things of that nature, because it's easy, right? Just like a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But for highly sensitive or classified information, and that's all under debate right now. What's classified? What's highly sensitive?
The government should have their own program.
They weren't talking about playing tennis this weekend.
No.
Different story, right?
Yeah.
And then and then a lot of people are asking, well, what else have they talked about on Signal that we don't know about?
And who else is talking?
And who else is talking with whom on Signal?
Well, these years have been making my head hurt.
Interestingly, the owners, the co-founders of Signal are a guy. His real name is Matthew Rosenfeld. I believe that's it. Rosenfeld, but he calls himself Moxie Marlin's Pike. That's one of the founders.
Fisherman.
And Brian Acton, they're both co-founders. Supposedly Brian Acton donated $50 million to start Signal. And Signal is a nonprofit organization, doesn't have any investors, doesn't have any advertising, and it's only supported by its members. And so, but the question is now,
I wonder how many people have joined Signal.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Google that.
Well, they definitely were quick to mock that chat, right? Right on their website.
What's his last name?
On their website.
No, what's his Mr. Marlin Spike, Moxie, we'll call him. We'll call Moxie. Moxie went online and kind of used it as a way to promote the app,
right.
and he said, "Hey, you should join a Signal because you may get invited by the vice president to get involved in
make a lot of
confidential secret military strike information."
Responsible.
You can actually tell them your
This is
opinion
not even
on how to
funny.
strike.
Exactly. Yeah. So the bad,
we'll even teach you how to do a strike.
Right.
I mean, like a tutorial.
The bad thing about it, about all of the stuff that came out, was that there were.
It just shows how messy America is.
Yeah, well, and there were 18 people on the chat, including a journalist, but even this other 17 or so, no one said, "Is this something we should really be discussing over a group
because
chat?"
America is still naive. We think that we're safe from everything. That's why we're protected.
Well, the worst
we can say anything. No, someone's going to come and save us.
Was anybody aware that anybody else on the chat were they aware that the reporter was on?
I don't know. That's why I don't.
I don't know if it says how many invitees there are, or
is it
who
a chat?
Invited.
Is it an ongoing chat? Is it ongoing, or how long has he been on there? Was he on there before, or did he just get invited?
I read the chat, and there were some personal beliefs there too. There wasn't just operational stuff.
No,
there were personal opinions being expressed that shouldn't be public.
Right. Well, JD Vance, actually, our vice president, disagreed. He disagreed. He said, "I don't think we should do this right now. There's a lot of things we should be looking at before we do this strike." And then at the beginning of the text or the chat, they're talking about Europe and how they're basically feeding off the United States, and I don't want to be subsidizing Europe again, and
so freeloaders,
things. I'm like, oh. So now,
but the thing is, I really wish I knew the real truth about everything. I really wanted the educational background on stuff instead of everyone's opinion.
Well, what supposedly what came out in the text is that in making these war plans, the Trump administration, the higher ups, Trump and JD Vance and maybe some others, they look at this as a business, and they said, we're the only Navy that can do what we need to do to clear up the shipping lanes and bomb the Houthis in a certain way, and so we'll
leverage.
Do it. Yeah. But we're going to get the cost of doing so, and then we're going to charge Europe for the cost.
Yeah, it's all about leverage. It's all about how you can turn it into a business opportunity. But what I was shocked to see when I read that chat is that nobody's immune from using emojis.
Oh yeah,
right. Nobody's immune. We got strong arm emojis. We got American flags.
Did they have a bomb?
We even had the fire symbol. So nobody's immune to it. Our leaders of this country are using emojis to communicate.
Hey.
Yep. So some of the legal issues that have come up is, number one is the sharing and mishandling of confidential or national defense information.
Right. Yeah.
Now, of course, typical Washington, they get into the word game now. We weren't actually doing war planning. It was just operational stuff. And so we're going to play this. We're going to play the semantical games. But one of the legal issues is the sharing and mishandling of a national defense information, which would be a violation of the Federal Espionage Act. And then also the Signal. I guess if you use Signal, you can set a date for all your messages to disappear.
Right, or delete them right there as soon as you say them.
And so that would be a violation of the federal laws regarding retention of federal official documents, because these were official governmental communications.
Yeah, and then you have a Senate hearing, and then they say, "Well, didn't you say this?" And they're like, "I don't remember that." And,
why can't? I mean, everything's been changed. Why don't they just change in the court that they can erase stuff now?
I don't know. Who knows? Well, you're not supposed to, because it's
but
governmental communication.
2025, it can be erased now. It's okay.
The bottom line is that, as it was said, it should be recorded.
And it should be,
and privately, securely.
Because you want to know what happened a couple years, like 20, 30 years ago. You want to know the history, the truth, the action, what came up, the
enemy, if there is an enemy. We don't want them to know who the actors are here.
Right.
We don't want them to know who the participants are, who the people who are making the decisions are, because they can be targeted.
Yeah, exactly. So it's still a scandal, still ongoing. And I don't know what's going to happen. Now people are calling for certain people to be jailed and incarcerated or resign and be fired. And that's, I think we talked about it earlier, Teddy, and I've talked, I recently posted on Facebook about this, and I got quite a spirited response from a number of people on both sides of the aisle, so to speak. And I guess the question is, if we remember, Hillary Clinton put hundreds or thousands of what they thought was classified emails on a private server of hers. And then the chance following that was lock her up, lock her up, lock her up.
Yes.
Right.
Because that's what she did. Although the FBI later looked through everything and said,
there was nothing there.
There was nothing really there. Some things probably should have been classified, but they weren't marked classified. But in any event, and James Comey, I think, did this for the FBI. He said there was no criminal intent. And now people are calling. Now the people that wanted Hillary locked up are saying nothing wrong here. There's nothing done wrong here. And the people that were defending Hillary Clinton are saying lock these guys up, fire them. And so it's typical, just Washington back and forth. But
the same people accusing Hillary Clinton are in the chat,
right? Oh, well, yeah. Our Secretary of State, Little Marco.
Little Marco.
So Little Marco, I'm sorry.
That's not his name.
Back then it was.
Secretary Rubio was also on this chat, and he was the one that was calling for Hillary Clinton's head. And so now he was.
But I bet they're all best friends now that Hillary's not even in charge.
I think he used an emoji too, didn't he?
He may have.
Great job, guys.
I know. I know it wasn't a little hands emoji.
Once everything's over, these politicians are all best friends. All we need to do is focus on making sure America's stable.
Well, that was, some of the more reasoned politicians and also journalists have come out and said, what really needs to be done is people need to stop the continual cycle. Now the Democrats are after Republicans and they should all be locked up. And then, Hillary Clinton, she should have all been locked up, her and her group and things like that. And it just never seems to end. And no one ever sits back and takes responsibility. Number one, they should have come out immediately and said, this was a total screw up. It will never happen again. We apologize. And it was a real screw up and we're going to fix it.
But this is politics. Politics, they have to walk it back. So it doesn't seem like they ever make a mistake because then they would be ridiculed on the next election.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So it's all about keeping power, keeping your politics clean. So
that's interesting that Donald Trump wasn't in on the chat.
No.
Except for maybe an alias.
Maybe he was on there and
maybe it was an alias.
Assistant was on there.
I think he said he wasn't.
An alias.
Right? I think he said he was not.
He was not.
He didn't know about it.
Well, he said he was not.
He said he was not.
He knows about everything.
I don't know about that.
Well,
supposedly doesn't get to the Oval Office until about noontime every day.
He's pretty transparent, actually. I mean, he loves the media. So.
He does.
He loves the media.
He knows what's going on.
I'm surprised he wasn't on that chat, man. Cursing out the Houthis and Yemen and everything else. And who knows?
So a lot was said that I think was sensitive information after reading it.
Yeah.
But it was just said in a casual way as well, and I was shocked to see that.
That's why most people are shocked by it, and that was my whole point. I think we need to get beyond this, lock everyone up and arrest everyone, but let's learn from it. Let's say, hey, we're Democrat, Republicans. You always say it. We're just Americans, and we want to be safe. I don't want our secrets, our military plans, our operational plans. I don't want us to be a target. Yeah, exactly. I don't want that going out to where someone can intercept it and use it against us somehow. I mean, if the Houthis or someone had been able to intercept it, and maybe even they did, but not in time, they could have said, well, let's attack their ships first, because the Houthis are firing at our ships in the Red Sea and everything like that.
They'll try to focus on hacking the signal company now.
Well, that's right. That's right. And that's the other question, is how many times has it been used in the past and what's on there? So I'm sure we'll find out in weeks to come. Those, the reporters
they'll get a hold of their best IT guy at Signal, right?
There you go.
And they'll just say, hey, you better open it all up.
That's right. That's right.
All right, guys.
Well, anyway,
I have one last question.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Probably for Tim. Educate me on why does Trump want to take over Greenland?
Greenland? Oh, Lord.
Supposedly,
I don't understand it.
I don't know. Supposedly, this goes back to the 1800s or something. America wanted that. I think
1800.
I think Trump looks at it as, if we can get Canada's our 51st state and we'll take over Greenland. That way we have control over that whole northern corridor between Russia and, things of that nature.
Is there a travel point where they travel easily or
there's
something?
natural resources. And
it gets awfully cozy with Russia, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now, Russia's starting to get a little uptight, and Russia's starting to say, no, I don't think you should go towards Greenland. And they're putting troops up in their corner of the...
How many people live in Greenland? Like 40?
I was going to say 20.
Isn't Greenland, isn't it it's part of Denmark, I thought?
It might be a private
It is.
I,
hideaway.
I just know.
I bet all their secret
just know
stuff
they
is over
tried to
there.
trick people from going there because that's the ice one. That's the one full of
Yeah.
ice.
Yeah.
It's not
There's
green
some-
at all, right? And
I think there's
Iceland is
something
full
there.
of green.
Yeah, I think Greenland. We already have bases in Greenland. I believe we
do.
have bases.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
we do.
yeah, no idea.
You know, but he wants to make Canada the 51st state. You know, we should probably make Washington D.C. the 51st state first, and then we can make 52nd Puerto Rico, who's been wanting to be a state for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico's, they don't want Puerto Rico.
Well,
Sorry.
well, we'll give them some paper towels. Don't worry about it.
Oh my Lord. Okay, it's time to shut down. Time to go.
Oop, hold on.
We're- yeah, we're gonna shoot this one. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
All right.
we used to have globes growing up, right? And we were
Yeah,
always
yeah.
wondering, okay, East Germany, West Germany, now that's the only change. And now it seems like that can change a lot.
Yeah,
I'll have to get new maps.
I don't know why he's doing it, but it'll be. I'm interested to find out, to see what what we can uncover as to what his thinking is. But I think it's just controlling more land, having all the natural resources up there, and things of that nature. But I don't know.
How old is he?
70 something, I believe.
You get big bragging rates by changing your map, I think.
Yeah. What's it? The Gulf of the United States now, or
Gulf of
Yeah,
America.
Gulf of America?
Gulf of America,
Mexico.
Oh, so we didn't change it?
Apparently he did, or someone.
But
did.
is it changed?
It's not really changed.
Not officially.
Okay, I was about to say that's a lot of paperwork. We got to change the maps, the
Well,
globes, the
God bless him.
everything.
He's
We can change Google, but that's
I
about
will-
it. Right now, it's a lot of
I will give him. I will
content.
give him some credit when credit is due. He knows how to occupy the news cycle.
Oh goodness, he's the
Man,
greatest.
Man, he
distraction.
is. He gets up in the morning and tweets one thing, and that's the rest of the news cycle for
Yeah.
the entire rest of the day.
How do we
Until
stay
tomorrow.
educated though?
I'll give him credit. He's one of the few politicians who he told you what he was going to do, and he's doing it.
And he's doing
Yeah.
it exactly right. He didn't
right or wrong, whether you agree or disagree.
Ah,
but
day one, he didn't waste any time.
No,
No.
day one.
No.
Alrighty. Well, folks, thanks for joining us for another episode of Legal Shit. And just remember, it's not just talk, it's
Legal shit.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye,
you,
guys.
Reggie. Thank you
Thanks,
for
Reggie.
coming.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. Oh, we were supposed to stop it. But yeah, but that was a good show. That was really a good show. I think we did good. Yeah.
I think it went well.
Yeah, it went
Went
well.